You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for all ages from... two, and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and there's a creaky floorboard here at Comedy Club for Kids HQ, and it is driving me bananas. I don't mean it's sitting at the steering wheel of a banana that I own and it's driving it around, as that would be excellent. You know, I don't mean driving me bananas. Imagine that, if everything did drive you bananas, but it also drove bananas. I'd be driven a lot less bananas if that was what happened. But this floorboard is driving me round the twist. Again, I don't mean a floorboard is sitting in a car and I'm in the passenger seat and the only direction it's going in is around the twist, as that would make me really, well, car sick, I suppose. Yeah, what I mean is it's just very, very annoying. That creak is really annoying and it's been happening for days. Linda, how do you fix a creaky floorboard, Linda? Well, even if Linda doesn't know, I think my huge book of officially clever tips for doing things and stuff might know. Here it is. There you go, a creaky floorboard. How to stop it creaking, tip 1. Don't step on it. Well, that's annoying as I'm not stepping on it, and yet... So that tip doesn't work. What's tip 2? Let's see if this one's any better. Okay. Fill the gap around the floorboard with things until it stops creaking. Great. Okay. What am I going to put in that gap? Oh, I know. This week's mailbag letters. Here is a review on Apple Podcasts from Goofy emoji in the US, who says, "Hi, I'm Linda. I think that tea are boresome." I'm not sure that that's this show's Linda, as if she thought the show was boresome, she might actually turn up. So I'm guessing that's another Linda, in which case, thanks very much for the nice review, other Linda. And thanks very much for giving me something to fill in the gap in between the floorboard and the rest of the floor so it might stop creaking. Here we go. Hopefully, that should work. Maybe I haven't put enough things in there to fill up the gap. What if I topped up that letter in the mailbag with some farting animals? Okay, hopefully that should make things a little better. Now, don't forget, if you have a question that needs answering, or you just want to send in anything else at all, then please ask your nearest shinless goobers, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. You can also leave a review for this show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and other places, or you can leave a message on the Spotify Q&A for each episode. Don't forget also to check out comedyclubforkids.co.uk to find out when we have live shows near you, and please tell everyone you know in the entirest universe that this show exists, and to hurry up and get listening. Unbelievable, that's so much worse. Right, while I deal with this absolutely awful floorboard, you have a listen to this most importantest bit.
We're going to end up with a squeaking floorboard.
Drum roll, please. It's Abby Wambaugh, aka Abby, who's fully trained as an underwater cabbie, aka Abs Wams, official namer of all the worst storms, or as all of our mud-dwelling listeners know you, But, Abby, you are very well known for inventing the toilet rock to go with the toilet roll, for your campaign to give stilts to worms to make their worm's eye view better, and most famously, for the time you wore an orange traffic cone on your head and everyone declared you were a giant talking carrot and therefore the 8th natural wonder of the world. Abby, it is a joy to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, you've got amazing accolades. You know, we're just a guest, a celebrity like yourself. It's very exciting that you could be here on Radio Nonsense. Have you been very busy lately?
Yeah, really busy. I think once I invented the toilet rock, it's been pretty tough to just like get out there with distribution and getting the rocks in every toilet. I think you'll find almost every apartment in a building of apartment has at least one of its own toilets. And I'm just carrying a lot of rocks apartment to apartment, trying to get them to stick them where they poop, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's because you think it's a natural cell, right? I would want a rock with my roll. Everyone wants rock and roll, But I suppose you forget that there are quite a lot of toilets in the world, and if you've got to get a rock in every one, you might miss some.
You know, I feel a little bit like before I looked up to Santa Claus. I thought, what a cool job. And now, as someone who is going through chimneys and pipes, trying to get into every bathroom in the world, I actually find it quite taxing. And I think Santa should get a lot more credit. But mostly I should get a lot more credit for the work I'm doing.
Absolutely. I think you should as well, because I think, you know, there is something that someone like you could invent this thing. You could put it on sale so that people could buy it, because it would be popular, and we all know it would be popular. But you instead have done this amazing thing where you've decided you have to deliver it at night when people are asleep as almost like a special surprise. So they wake up, everyone needs a poop in the morning, and they go in and they're like, wow, there's a rock with my roll, right?
I think that what is the most important thing when you are marketing a product for free is customer service. I think like if you're not going to deliver the rock yourself to the toilet, if you are not going to put the rock by the roll, like then what's the point? We might as well have AI doing it. We might as well be replaced by robots. Not me. I'm doing it myself. And if you don't have a rock in your toilet yet, you just wait. Make sure you're not locking your bathroom door in the middle of the night. I'll be there.
Wow, that's quite the promise. I hope all of our listeners are excited that they're going to get visit. Do you? I mean, because you get the Tooth Fairy, you get Santa Claus. Have you given yourself a little like a name? Like, do you have a kind of? I suppose it's not a superhero. Like, you deliver rocks in the night. Are you like the? I don't know, the rock wizard, the rock fairy.
I just go by Rocky. I just go by Rocky.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that there's a movie called Rocky, and that movie is an inspirational kind of tale of someone who like kind of rediscovers boxing when they think they're past their prime. And I think that was it for me. I've done a lot of other things in my life, as you said, but this is kind of, I'm attaching a lot of myself to this project to get rocks in all the toilets in the world. And I really hope that it's my sort of like, a winning career project. So yeah. Rocky.
I mean, it absolutely should be. It's quite amazing. I do hope you get at least listed for the Nobel Prize because of this.
Thank you.
It's quite an innovation. I do have to ask, how do you know which size rocks to put in which toilets? Is it different rocks for different toilets, or have you found the perfect size rock for every toilet?
Well, generally, I would say most toilets have the same size kind of like hole in the bottom, and you want to make sure you have a rock that doesn't go down the hole. Right. You want, the other things that go in a toilet to go down the hole, but you want your rock to sort of stay in the bowl. You want it to like
that's the trick. Right. Okay, because
we're not talking pebbles.
Yeah.
We're not talking pebbles.
Yeah.
We're not talking boulders. It's got to go through the hole in the seat. It's got to stay in the bowl, but it has to leave room for everything else you need to do in a toilet. So,
wow. Because I don't want to, I'm not sort of hinting or complaining anyway, but I haven't had mine delivered yet. I haven't seen how it works. And you've now made me realize it's a bit like, those some of our listeners might know these, but like those things where you put a penny in them and they roll all the way down and drop into the bottom. And is that like does the rock just keep rolling round and round? Is it almost like
No, you see with
no?
porcelain, which is
Yeah.
what most
Yeah.
toilets are made out of, that
Yeah.
would be kind of, I think, like a dangerous thing. You want to make sure that the toilet stays intact,
Right.
the rock stays in the bowl. You don't want to drop it from too high a height because of the plop.
Wow.
You don't want a lot of water getting everywhere. So it's like it's kind of a close drop, not a rolling around the basin. And then what you want to do is and for me, for my health and safety, I don't want to be touching toilet water. And it's it's a tricky business to be in when you don't want to be splashed with toilet water. But I think I've really got it down now. And again, customer service is a main tenet of what I'm doing, Tiernan. And I just want to apologize to you that you haven't gotten your free rock in your toilet yet. Do you sleep normal hours, or are you sometimes awake at night? Because sometimes that can kind of get in the way.
Off? Yeah, it could be that. Maybe I'm awake at night and I'm not going to bed early enough for you to arrive. I'll start having an earlier bedtime. That's what my grown-ups always told me I have to do. Have the nightlight on, a bedtime story, go to sleep. So,
good things do come to toilets whose people are sleeping when they're supposed to be sleeping.
Yes, that makes sense. It makes sense. Well, listen, I wasn't complaining. I'm fully aware that you've got to get to quite a lot of toilets around the world, and possibly even universe. I'm not sure how far you're going with this. I'll wait my turn. That is okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm sure I'll get to you. Yeah,
I'm very excited. I mean, I just think it's such an incredible innovation, and I know you've done many things like this, but to even get to that idea of a rock with the roll, and obviously, I in the UK we say roll for like cheese rolls, ham rolls.
Oh, okay.
But you've chosen rock and roll, and was there ever any thought about maybe just leaving a load of cheese in people's bathrooms?
I think that generally people are leaving their own cheese in the bathrooms.
Right, okay.
And that's not really like a need that they need my support
That's
with.
fine.
But rocks in the bathroom, pretty rare.
That is pretty rare. Wow. Yeah, you're right. I just, I have to ask these questions because,
of
mainly
course.
because they're in my head, and if I don't, and I will never know the answer to them. These things have to be found out, and I guess that takes up all your time. If every night you're doing your toilet rock business, that doesn't leave much other time for you. What do you spend your days doing? Are you asleep the entire time?
Oh, I got to take my kids to school. Then when they're at school, I do nap.
Right.
But generally, I find when you're doing good deeds like I am, that just like the enthusiasm, the verve for life, sort of keeps you awake.
Right.
You don't need so much rest. Yeah.
So when was the last time you slept, like you properly slept?
Tuesday.
Right.
I had a good one. Good like 90 minutes, I would say.
Wow.
The entire the length of Storks the movie. I slept right through it, which is crazy because I love that movie. So I must have really needed it. Really needed it.
Wow. And do you have kind of like are you only getting 90 minutes? Do you have like speed dreams? Do you have dreams that are like someone pressed fast forward and you get to the end quickly? How does that work?
Tiernan, and it's hard for me to tell because they're normal speed dreams for me because I've only ever, but for you, I mean, I don't know how slow your dreams are, but for me, yes, my dreams are like they could compete in the Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Do you know what? I would love to see that, and I hope that happens one day for your dreams. I really hope there is an Olympic starting lineup of the world's fastest runners, and then they're in position, maybe 6, 7, or 8. I assume that's where they put dreams. Are your dreams? And
I would say too, like in terms of like how fast I can even just run in my sleep is like faster than any actual like awake human, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is very interesting, isn't it? Because the Olympics and all these sports events are really based on, you can run like this in real life, can you? You're the fastest. But where are the sports for people like yourself? And I can't say I've run in dreams, but I've climbed, I've done other things much better than I can do in real life. Where are the sports for our dream versions?
I think that is great question that's going to require a lot of like advocacy and help like from people like us who are having these thoughts in the coming year, so where we're like, hey, yeah, sure, maybe I'm not that fast when I'm awake. Maybe I don't ever actually want to go on a run when I'm awake. Maybe my real talent when I'm awake is eating Cheetos. But when I am sleeping, I can easily compete with the top athletes in the world if I don't actually have to move my body. And I think, why wouldn't they be taking that into account?
I think that's way more important. And also, I think that eating Cheetos in the day, that's your, like, what do they call it? Like the protein, the carbs that you need for your nighttime sleep running. That's really
that's
important.
a really good point.
Yeah, you need that in the day, because then at night you're in your dream you is burning a lot of energy, racing as faster than anyone on earth.
I have woken up sore. I have woken up
I bet
sore because of how fast I'm running.
Yeah.
That these muscles are engaged, know?
Yeah. Is it, how in your dreams when you go that fast, are you like leaving trails of fire? Are you going so fast that happens?
Cheetos.
Yeah.
It's the dreams. So, it doesn't have to be realistic. It's real in my sleep, and I'm leaving Cheeto trails.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's sneaky as well, because Cheeto dust, if there are runners behind you, that's going to go in their eyes. They're going to drop out of the race pretty quick.
And I'm not trying to cheat like that, but it kind of is an advantage. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's why they're called Cheetos? Do you think that's the real, I know there's a cheetah on them, but do you think actually...
I'd never put that together, but now that you say it, it's so obvious. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just wonder, it makes me really think differently about that cheetah. I always thought he's a cool guy. He's got cheesy, crunchy snacks. Maybe he's just a very dishonest cat.
Yeah, I think that actually I'm going to have to spend some time really like looking in my dream heart and thinking like, does that implicate me? Is it also my fault then if I'm eating these Cheetos myself? Like, I'm choosing to do that when I'm awake. Now that I know what that cheetah is in the game for, I think probably I'm going to have to make a different decision. And if I want to keep considering myself like, good-hearted and ethical.
Yeah, and professional. I think you are very professional. I think it's something probably not many people have thought about. I'm trying to think what would be a very honest food to eat during the day.
Yeah,
that wouldn't have that effect. Oats. I don't know. I don't know what to be honest.
Wow, interesting.
Are they honest?
They're a little. I mean, if you're going to eat them wet, then the dust would really not be as much of an issue. But if you're eating dry oats, I think with this kind of thing, you maybe don't know until you've tried it. You eat the foods awake, and then you see the impact on the dreams. Because, like the, I mean, I really want to emphasize that I did not consider that eating Cheetos during the day was cheating, and now I think you're right. So I think I might have to experiment with it and see what feels the most fair.
Yeah, I think there's some like great. There could be some fantastic things that happen. Cotton candy floss kind of could leave clouds, and jelly beans could bounce along there. There could be some really interesting things that happen. Please let us know. Please report back and
I will
tell us if there's a preferred. Obviously you don't want any competitors in the dream world, so maybe don't, if you find one that really helps, maybe don't tell us. I don't know.
Well, I think like I really feel like I'm sort of at a level where I can pass on what's working for me.
Fast. Yeah.
I mean, I feel confident. I feel pretty sure. There aren't a lot of other people like dream training, I feel like.
Sure.
And I'm only doing it part-time, 90-minute, one movie length at a time.
Yeah, sure, of course.
If somebody wants to build a career around this, they're going to have to invest more time. I'm just kind of a natural talent.
Sure. Yeah, and hey, if the Dream Olympics does take off, if we manage to get this campaign through, I guess you might want to be thinking about sleeping 14 to 20 hours a day just to really train properly.
That's going to really, really cut into my rock delivery time. And maybe that is something that down the line would be a good like career path for me. But right now I feel really focused on the impact I'm making by putting rocks in toilets while other people sleep. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I, at some point, and who knows when, and maybe one day in the near future, distant future, somewhere in between, somewhere in the past, you will have put a rock in every toilet, and then you'll have to think what's next, and what's next is gold at the Dream Olympics.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think that's true. I'm always just thinking about like, oh, how many toilets are in the world and will I ever get there? But of course I will.
One day.
Of course I will.
I believe you will. I believe you will. And hopefully one of those will be mine. Not that I'm bitter or upset about it.
But I'm sure. I'm so sorry again.
It will be in mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Abby, I'm so grateful that you could be on this show. I'm so grateful you could take time out of, well, I suppose it's not the night time, so you're not putting rocks in toilets and you aren't sleeping. So you've probably got quite a lot of time, but either way, I'm very appreciative that you could be here. I've got a question that someone has sent in that I think you are the person. In fact, pretty much as we've been talking about dreams, I think it's quite relevant to this conversation, and I think you're the person that can answer it. But before I ask you it, I've got a couple of admin questions. How do you feel about admin?
Great. I feel great about admin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay? That's great. That's good to
know. Strong administration.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wow. Do you file things
so far?
Right.
Yeah. I just don't think there's been enough admin so far on this. Okay. So I'm really
Wow. Oh, so should I have set some minutes for the podcast before we started or something?
I would not dare to say that you have done anything wrong. Sure. Just to clarify that I am eager for admin, eager for it.
Okay.
And I'm happy to file the report about this episode afterwards. I'm happy to take that on.
Wow. Okay, that's good, but I'm worried I should have maybe started this interview with an agenda and who was present and done all the boring things that happen at boring grown-up meetings and no.
I mean, I appreciate the thought and maybe for next time, But like, Tiernan, this is a professional sort of exchange and just the same way that you have been constantly criticizing me for not delivering your rock yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure.
Right. It's sort of the same. Like we can both improve.
Yes,
and that's fine.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not criticizing. I just
sure.
I just would really like one.
And,
and all my neighbors have one. Anyway, so look, listen. Let me ask you these admin questions then. Just you see how you take these. I think the second question is harder than the first, but you can take your time. You answer them however you need to. So the first question is quite simply, what is this?
Yes, I would say it is this.
Right.
I did consider just briefly at the start of this whether this was that. But I think I am sort of settling back on this is clearly head and shoulders above the rest at this. This is this.
It's definitely this.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen some of that, and it's very similar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How are you?
It's similar,
right?
You have to have trained your eye, I think, between this and that. Mm-hmm. So what you'll notice is that a little bit different than this. If you just look closely, if you look really closely at it, that it has like some differences.
Okay.
To this,
right? It's hard.
Have you noticed that before?
No, do you know? I haven't got a trained eye. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really know how to train an eye. Do I have to give it exercises? Do I? I don't know what I need to. I need to feed it certain foods. How does it work?
I think you could. I think it's clear. It's like, first of all, you can start out with anything with the eye. You don't have to train it right away. That's kind of a big step. You could bust the eye. You could walk the eye. You could bike ride the eye. Okay. Trains are pretty, I think that's pretty far ahead. Trains need tracks. Trains need lots of things. What I would suggest you start out with, Tiernan, is you've seen a lot of this, right? You've seen a lot of this.
I've seen a lot of it. I've seen loads of this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Loads of this. And then what I would say, what I would just suggest you do is seek out some of that. Try to find that. You might need somebody to confirm it at first. Be like, is this that? and then they'll be like, oh no, that is that. This is this. And then, it
Yeah.
feels confusing, but it doesn't have to be.
Sure. Well, it's also the issue I now have of transport to getting to the person who can show me that, because I don't want to
Right.
train. I don't want to get on the. I don't want my eye to get the train so quickly.
Yeah.
I might have to get a scooter or a skateboard or something and start quite small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Walking is
I
fine.
can walk the eye to
Yeah.
that warehouse,
Yeah.
and they can maybe talk me through it.
And do you know
Yeah.
what I think, is there someone you trust, Tiernan? Is there someone you trust who could tell you that is that? And you would be like, I know that they wouldn't lie to me. I know that they know what that is. Is there someone that
Yeah, there's.
you know,
There's quite a few people. I don't know if Tom Hanks would be available. I'd trust Tom Hanks
yeah.
to
Oh,
probably tell
really
me.
good, trustworthy guy, huh?
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else. Taylor Swift. I don't know if she'd have time. I would trust her to probably tell me this. My nan. She's
No,
that.
that.
Oh, that's yes. So not
Yeah.
her. Then she doesn't have a quick clue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the guy that runs the shop round the corner. He's quite nice. He's got lots
Okay.
of things. So maybe some of them are this.
Yeah,
and some
yeah,
of them
yeah.
are that.
And probably some of those things that he
Yeah.
has, some of them are this and some of them are that. So he'd be great, I think. Great
Okay.
place to start.
Right.
And maybe easier right away to get a hold of than Tom Hanks.
Yeah, yes, so that's often the problem. I've never actually managed to get hold of Tom Hanks before, but I just sort of assumed if I had done, he'd be able to
Yes,
tell
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it's a problem with all these people. They're very busy, and
Really
a
busy.
lot of people already know what's this and what's that, and so
Yeah. But that's
Yeah.
good, actually. That works in your favor. That
Yeah,
works
that's
in your
true.
favor.
That's true. Well, thank you. I didn't realize quite how complicated it was, and then I sort of regret buying this in the first place. Really.
Well, no, this is fine. You know lots about this. It's more about
More about that.
if you had bought that.
Yeah, then I'd be in trouble. Yeah. Well, that's why you got to think about your purchases, listeners. It's very important. Very important. Well, thank you for guiding me through that.
So welcome. Sure.
And I thought that was hard because I didn't understand, but obviously for you, an expert like you, it's very easy. So
And you know what I think? I just want to say, like, yeah, I am an expert. Yeah, I make it look easy. And yeah, I also make it sound confusing because it is so easy for me.
of course.
But I really feel confident that you are someone who can learn this, understand that, and make this and that sound complicated to other people in the
Right.
future because this and that are so easy to you.
Yeah.
I think you can get there.
Well, thank you. That is helpful, and this is helpful, and that and this are. Thank you. Yeah,
You're so welcome.
yeah. Well, thank you. That was question one. And listen, I can't even imagine I can't even begin to imagine how you're going to handle question two after an answer like that. Question two, I have to say this,
Like
this
this.
admin's,
Like an answer like this.
oh,
Sorry,
but not like,
go ahead.
not like that.
No,
Oh,
an answer
wow,
like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. An answer like
It's
this.
okay.
Yeah. Right. Wow. Okay. My mind is slightly blown, but we'll get. It's all right. Okay. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. This is this is the second question. We'll see how you
Okay.
handle this.
Very well done. Good.
And I should say that this admin this week has gone for some classic ideas, but we'll see how it works. Would you rather, Abby, have to spend
Mm-hmm.
every single day of your life herding cats or
Mm-hmm.
nailing jelly to a wall? And I should say for American listeners, I mean Jello jelly, not jelly, Jello, not jelly jam, Jello jelly jam, jelly. You know the slimy, like slime, nailing slime.
Okay, absolutely nailing slime, and that actually includes whether it's jello, or slime. Yeah, I would absolutely rather nail slime. Well, okay, where's the wall?
It's a pretty big wall. You've got a lot of slime. You've just got to. I mean, every day you've got to try and get it on there. You've got to try
Do I
and
get
use a
any
hammer and a
breaks?
nail. It's up to you. I mean, it's up to you how. This question, I have to say, it hasn't specified how much time you would need to spend. I assume every day there's a quota, and it's like
Okay.
we need this much jelly on the wall by the end of the day.
Oh
So you
no.
probably take
Okay.
your time, but in the same way, you probably need to herd this many cats into that area every day. So, I think most jobs are quite professional. We've talked about this, we talked about professionalism with athletes and things. Whatever job you have, there's going to be a quota. So, Yeah.
Are the cats nice cats? Are they
It's going to be mixed. It's going to be different cats every day, probably.
different cats?
Some are big, some are small, some have tails, some don't. Some of those ones that
Okay.
sleep all day, some of those ones that scratch you, some of those ones that are just a bit sort of wacky and, that always have their tongue out and do strange things. It's
Oh,
cats. It's all the cats, and you have to herd them.
every
Yeah,
cats.
yeah.
Okay. Well, geez, that thing. Okay, well, it seems like herding cats I could be outside for. That could be nice
Yes, yes.
compared to, right. And I don't know actually if it's an indoor wall or an outdoor wall for the jelly nailing.
Oh wow,
Um,
and that could be hard when it's raining because if you
oh,
think
you're
nailing
right.
jelly to walls hard normally when it's a real
Yeah.
downpour and that wall is wet, that's going to be really
Yes.
hard. But at the same time, you imagine herding cats in the rain. That's going to be really
Oh
hard. So,
gosh, that's a really good point.
mm.
Oh God. I think.
Right.
Oh, I think the jelly
Yeah.
because I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that makes it a lot easier. I think a much easier choice
Yeah, I
because
did know that the whole time.
sure,
Um,
sure. Yeah,
but
but it's hard because
I thought maybe
how close
it
to
would
a
be
cat
worth
do you
it.
need to be to be allergic
Right.
to it? Like how,
Touching, and
right.
I was thinking if we're outside and I'm herding the cats and and if it's like, if when I asked about the nice cats, I was like maybe I could just herd the nice cats
Mm.
or the hypoallergenic cats,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
But it seems like probably I don't get a choice so
No, I
much.
don't think so. No.
Unless
But
and if I did, then I would really choose herding the cats that are actually dogs. I would pick
oh
that.
wow. Those are
Yeah.
those dogs in disguise. That is a thing. That would be very clever. Yeah. I mean, because I was going to say that I don't know if you've seen anyone heard anything before, and I can't say I have, but in my head, I imagine they've often got a big stick and they often make noises like ear bite, and things like that,
Yeah.
and whistle like I can't do it very well, but that's
Yeah.
that was a good herding whistle.
Yeah.
And they
Thank
don't
you.
ever really like when someone herds sheep. Well, in fact, when someone herds sheep, they have a dog to do it for them, and they also don't
Yeah.
have to touch the sheep and get allergic. So you could just have a
Yeah.
big stick and a dog. I don't think the cats.
Do you
would
think
like
the
that, though.
dog can do the part, the whistling?
Yeah, maybe dogs could whistle, right?
So if the dog and the stick are touching the cats,
Hmm.
and I don't have to, and I can make that whistling sound though myself, like even if the dog can't,
Yeah.
then maybe we're back to the cats thing. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I'm a creative thinker. I have started my own business where I deliver rocks
Of course,
to
yeah.
toilets around the world. So okay, what if I took both jobs? I told them I could only do part-time. Both jobs part-time. But I'm using the jelly to lure the cats.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah, I'm getting the cats to come to the jelly. So herding them is really, it's on the jelly. And then once the cats, cats do this thing. When they swallow something weird, they kind of
Yeah.
cough it back up in a firm,
Yes.
like hard ball.
Yeah.
Once the cat hairballs up the jelly, the hair will kind of, I think, give it a sort of texture and a consistency that is more easily nailed to the wall.
That's very clever. That's
Thank
very
you.
clever, Abby. I'm very
Thank
impressed.
you.
And you also make me realise that because there are quite a lot of cat foods that are in jelly, or and
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
maybe this must be maybe this was made for you and your future career.
Actually, I feel committed to getting a rock in every toilet in the world, but if I hadn't made that as a promise to myself and my family, then I think I would pursue this cat jelly thing.
Wow. Well, good luck to you. Thank you for taking a really good amount of time to answer what was a very important question. It did have to be answered. So thank you, Abby. I really appreciate
You're so welcome,
that.
and thank you for finally getting to the admin.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Well, there's more. There is kind of. I mean, it's kind of the main thing I have to ask, which I suppose makes it the most important admin. Does that count?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I thought you'd like it if it was more admin. I could just say it was the question, but we'll pretend it's like the big admin. The
Okay, great.
the ad max, the ad maximum. And
Mhm.
so this question has been sent in by Parker, who is aged 7.
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't say 7 what, so I just should say that could be 7 minutes. It could be 7
Oh, right.
decades, 7 centuries. He could be really old.
Yeah.
It could be 7 swans. I don't know how old he
Yeah.
really is.
Okay. I may just make sure to speak with respect,
Yeah, just in
no
case
matter
he's
what.
ancient. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Parker, potentially 700 years old. He has asked, and this is a great question, and it sort of fits with what we were talking about earlier, but Parker has said, why do we say people are falling asleep?
Oh, right. I used to be confused about this too, actually. Well, there is, as I think many people know, when you're awake, there's a little person, a little version of you in your head, just sort of walking around, looking through your eye windows,
Right.
and sort of doing the thinking during the day up in your brain, collecting the messages. Now, when you are going to sleep, that little person in your brain slides down your spine. That slide is like a playground slide, and slides down your spine. And then after your eye curtains close, it's the same as like windows at night. You close the curtains, maybe. That person goes down the slide, walks around the rest of your body while you are asleep to sort of gather the information that the rest of your body picked up on during the day while your little person was up in your brain, looking at your eyes, not really paying attention to what was going on everywhere else, how you were feeling in your heart, how you were feeling in your body. And so when that person, that little person, that's you, it's just a little tiny version of you walking around inside of you. When that person deems it's time to go to sleep, they need to go down that slide. They need to go down that slide. It could also be called jumping to sleep because you can jump down a slide. It could be called just like walking to sleep. You can just like walk off the edge of the slide. It could be just like sitting to sleep, because all of these ways are ways that the little person inside of you can go down the slide. Wow. Generally, though, you do need to be in a relaxed state. You kind of need to be ready to go to sleep. And then that means you're tired. And a lot of times then the little person walking around your brain does kind of actually just like fall down the slide. At the end of the day. And then, once they get to the bottom, they walk around the rest of your body, sort of like getting the information they need to send up to your brain for you to understand more tomorrow.
Wow, that is an incredible answer. Thank you, Abby. That is amazing. I mean, I have to ask them because, if I was that little person, or if I was my own little person, well, no, hang on, this is confusing.
You are actually your own.
I am,
yeah.
But I'm, So, but if so I'm not that, but right now, if I was like a little person falling down a slide, I would probably go, ah, or I'd probably go, wee, right? And if I was inside my own head, which I am, but I'm not right now, that noise would wake me up when I was trying to go to sleep. So how come we never hear the little person yelling when they go down the slide?
It does happen, actually. The little person is yelling when they go down the slide. Even if they're like, it's kind of like a very tired yell. They do yell, but they're so little, really, it's just like about the sound of a fart. And that doesn't wake you up.
No, that's true. That's true. Farts don't wake people up, actually, unless they're really quite powerful. Yeah, they have to be really quite powerful and often change tones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. My other question, I suppose, would be, like, probably from the little person in my head, who is me, who isn't me, but is me, they're probably as exhausted as I am and probably don't really want to do a slide more than once. But for some of our younger listeners, right, I assume their little person that's all they're doing is the slide, and they don't check on the other parts of the body.
That's called sleep apnea.
Right.
That's...
Is that what happens? That's what that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you'll notice, like, maybe your like grandparents or maybe your dad is falling asleep in a chair, keeps like waking up, going and then waking back up. That's because the little person climbed back up to the slide and slided back down like all night long, many, many times.
They're just having too much fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of selfish of them, but I can understand it. you know?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I get it too. And it is interesting because sort of as adults get older, often they do get more boring. They get less fun on
Yeah.
an actual
Hmm.
playground.
Hmm.
And you'll find, if you continue this research, the little person inside is really making up for that, really pulling a lot of the weight. The little person, the more boring you are on the outside, the more the little person that lives inside of you has to do to keep things
Wow.
interesting. You know, like if they're looking outside, if they're in if they're in Parker's head, okay,
Hmm.
and this little person, little Parker, is in Parker's head all day, and Parker is going down the slides at the playground, having lots of fun. The little person inside of them is getting to do that. They're getting to have all of those
Sure.
experiences that Parker is getting to have, petting a dog, like playing with their siblings. You know, like Parker is really giving a lot to that little person. If that little person inside is inside like your head,
Mm.
Tiernan. Like, and you're
Yeah.
just like on
Yeah.
on Zoom talking
Yeah.
to me. How boring. How
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
So that your little person might have to entertain themselves a little bit more by going down the slide in the middle of the night. You might not sleep as well as like someone like Parker who's doing fun things during the day.
And that's like a vicious circle, because if the little person's then doing all the fun things at night, then you're
Yeah.
waking up and you're too tired to do fun things in the day, and then
Yes.
you end up
Oh,
being like, there must be some fun things you could, I don't know, there must be some other way to give the little person fun things so that you can sleep properly, so then you can go down the slide in the day, you know?
that's a really good. I mean, I think honestly, it's hard because exactly what you're saying. You're tired during the day because the little person in your head is keeping you up.
Mm.
I think probably the trick for us, I think this is an especially a grown-up problem, really, a grown-up problem where they get too tired to do fun things or they can't see what the fun things are anymore.
Yeah.
I think that the grown-ups do have to make the first effort, even when they're tired, to start
Mm.
doing fun things, more fun things during the day, playing, doing like more things that kids like know how to do naturally to play and have a good time so that they like wear themselves out so that the little person inside of them is more satisfied and just goes down the slide one time and
Great
checks out
idea.
what's going on in the rest of the body.
Yeah, so grown-ups need to just get to the playground. They need to get to the
I think
playground.
so. Yeah.
And then the worry, of course, is that the little person inside their head, all they'll see is the view of what it's like when you're stuck halfway on a slide because you're too big for that slide. And then they see the emergency services come and have to remove you from the slide.
But that's
Um,
still exciting. You know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah,
That's
sure.
still
Yes, it is.
exciting for
Yeah,
the little
that's
person.
true. That is
And that's
true.
going to wear them out to the point where at night, when it's time for them to slide down the slide, they're going to have a lot to check out in the body from that experience, you
That's
know?
true. Yes, that is
Yeah.
true. Yeah, very good point, actually. And you keep, I suppose, if you were to do that every day, and you'd really get to know the fire safety crew, and that could be quite sort of exciting. Yeah, I mean, I can see you've
Yeah.
really opened my eyes to this, actually. My untrained eyes. Now very very used to this. So wow. Well, thank you, Abby. I think that's a fantastic. Do you think? I mean, just out of interest, does anyone, you know, because I often think about this, like with I know we've been talking about humans, but like fish, they fall asleep just sort of with their eyes open at the bottom of a tank. That's a fish tank, not a sort of one of the ones that shoots things.
Okay.
But they,
Uh-huh.
the like, do birds ever fall asleep while flying, and then they just actually fall asleep, or something like that ever happen?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think that actually maybe that whole falling asleep thing. I mean, it's like how some words mean different things, but I think for birds, falling asleep means when they fall asleep, it's because they fall out of the air when they were flying. I think that's entirely possible. I'm not an expert on birds. I spent a lot of my time researching the little people that live inside of us
Sure.
and delivering the rocks to the toilets. But yeah, I'd like to get into birds. Honestly, I'd love to. Do you have any experience with
I
birds?
don't. I mean, I've heard of them before, and I've read about birds in books. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know anything else about them. I'm not entirely sure they exist, but I suppose for me, I just was thinking, if you were a flying creature, maybe the little flying creature in your head would be like, "Well, I'm flying
Yeah.
all day. Last thing I want to do is fly," and then the bird
Yeah.
falls, and the little flying creature in their head is having to do very boring things at night time to calm themselves down.
I think it's really important that we, we leave it to science about the little birds in the birds' heads, because I really, some things are the same across like species and animals, and some are different. And I just really don't think it's safe for me to guess about what's happening inside of a bird. All I know about is the little people walking around inside of people for absolute scientific truth. That's all I know about.
Wow. Well, and that's what we got you on the show for. So thank you. We'll stop.
So welcome.
I'll stop thinking about birds and small birds inside birds' heads. Who knows if birds even exist, really? So it's a silly thing to be thinking about. Well, listen, thank you, Abby. Thank you so much for your expertise on today's show, and I hope Parker is very happy with that answer. I'm very happy with that answer, so I assume Parker will be. Too.
I hope so. Thank you so much, Parker. I think that's a great question, and I'm so glad I happen to be an expert on it. And this was so nice and fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks very much for being on, and I assume I'll get a rock in the toilet the next couple of days.
Do you have a shipping confirmation number?
I don't know.
That's because I didn't send you one. It's number 3, and if you just put that into the website I'll make quickly after this, then I'll tell you that I will deliver it when I feel like it.
Right. Okay, that's great. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's just nice having an update sometimes, isn't it?
Sure.
So that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much, and I will go round the playground very soon, so the little person in my head can sleep properly, so that then maybe you can come and deliver the toilet rock.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Abby.
Thanks so much.
Boy, that floor is so squeaky.
Big thanks to Abby Wambaugh for having time in between putting rocks in toilets to answer Parker's question. Oh, I really do hope I get my one soon. Parker, I hope you enjoyed your answer, and if not, why not send any complaints you have while you're falling asleep, and that way you'll probably forget and I won't have to hear them. If any of you out there listening also have a question that you need to have answered, or you want to send in anything else at all, then please get your nearest shinless goobers, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk. And if they fancy supporting this show, then they can also sign you up to the advert-free Linda edition for a small fee on Apple Podcasts, Acast Plus, or patreon.com/Comedy Club for Kids. I've been through this whole list in the book of how to fix a creaking floorboard, and absolutely none of them have worked. I've tried singing to it, covering it in mayonnaise, asking an ancient mystical monk to move its energies, whatever that means, and I've even said that if it stops creaking, I will personally stop doing this show forever, and yet still, none of that worked. There's only one tip left in this book. Tip 678. If you remove everything around the creaking floorboard, it'll have nothing left to creak against. Right. That's it. I have to do what I have to do. I've dismantled and destroyed everything in Comedy Club for Kids HQ except for the wooden floorboard. Did it work? Ha! Yes, I did it! I might not have an HQ anymore, but I won, and that is what matters. No! Bye! You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids Presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.